All right, we are back for sessions. What's up? All right, cool. We're going to be talking about frequency portals, and I love this topic. I want everybody to start really thinking along the lines of frequency portals and even having a visualization in your mind of what this looks like, although it's not something, that we see. It's also cool to just have the visual of it. So what does frequency portal mean to you? Right? When I say this, frequency portal, you can share it in the comments below or write it in your journal, just like what comes up for you from a soul memory of frequency portal. And I'd be fascinated to hear what comes up for you when I say that. And we're going to dive into frequency portals right now. This is Shauna Lee, and welcome to this week's The Soul Frequency Sessions. Real talk about real life and how to raise your energy frequency. All right. I was just on YouTube talking about frequency portals, which is our topic today, and wondering, what do you think a frequency portal is? What do you picture in your mind when I say frequency portal? Go ahead and write it down if you're not driving in a car, or think about it, visualize what does that look like for you? I think it's important for us to have some imagination and some creativity about what we feel like a frequency portal might look like, even though it's not something we obviously see in the three-dimensional reality. But if you've ever had a shift in your frequency, then you have moved into a different frequency portal. So one of the ways that I visualize it is like pods, right? Pods that are connected together in a multidimensional way. So not just in one linear line, but just all together. You could picture it like bubbles, right? Like bubbles all next to each other. And as if those bubbles had little doorways where you could go from one bubble into the other bubble. Is it just a great, I think, three-dimensional visualization of it? But basically the interesting thing about it is that when we are in one frequency bubble, we don't even know that other bubbles exist really. Maybe if we've been bouncing around between different frequencies, we then start to go, oh, I've been in a couple different frequencies and now there's even more. But until that time, we're really just think everything is very tangible. It's the same way as we don't realize that energy is always in motion, and even the things that look solid like a desk or a chair are energy, and at a very microscopic level, they are in motion, even though we process them as something that's hard, right? And not in motion. So it's thinking about and expanding your level of consciousness to a place where you realize oh, I'm in a certain reality, right? And largely created by me a lot of times. And I don't yet see that there are other realities to live in. And I can start to just imagine what else might be possible in other realities, right? And if you think about it always takes me back to science fiction movies, right? These people, they got it right a little bit, right? They understood some of the things, their imaginations and creativity were actually channeling things that are accurate sometimes. And it's really understanding that we have an option at this point on the planet to live in a different frequency. It doesn't mean right now you're going to beam up to another planet that's a different frequency, but that we can live in this three-dimensional reality within different energetic portals, right, of energy. And that people can live next door to each other and be in a different frequency and a different energetic portal. And so even though you might wave at your neighbor, they might not be living in the same, in a similar resonance as you are. Fascinating stuff, right? It's not like the difference between, oh, I live on Mars and you live on Earth, right? It's we can be right next to each other, but not sharing the same frequency, right? Or same range of frequency. So one of the interesting things when we're going to shift our frequency, right, and step through another portal into another energy, is that we feel a lot of usually angst within us or dissonance within us. It can feel like the world you're living in no longer fits you anymore. It can feel like, oh, I don't belong here and I don't know why. It can feel like a lot of, angst in relationships sometimes, or feel like people aren't understanding you. Like maybe you're growing in a certain way and other people are like, what is going on with you, right? And you are going, I don't know what's going on with me, but I know I don't feel comfortable like how I was before or what I believed before. This is all just kind of evidence, like very fundamental evidence that we are moving frequencies, like moving up to a different portal. And it can feel like you are going through the eye of a needle as you step into another portal. It can feel, sometimes what's really fascinating is, like, I'll give you an example. Maybe you have not spoken up for yourself like much in your life. And there have been people that have exerted a lot of control over you, and you finally end up in a conversation with one of the main people that's done that. Let's say it's like your father or something, like a major symbol in your life and relationship in your life that has always exerted control over you. And finally, one day you're in a conversation and you take your power back in that moment, right? You do something drastically different than the way that you've communicated before, and you will feel a shift happen in that dynamic. It's just like you pull your energy back in that moment and you say, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to do that, right? And you feel this immediate shift. And you also feel that all the power that you thought that person had over you was really a lot the power that you were giving that person. So when you pull that energy back to you and that power back to you, you start to then see that person isn't as powerful as you thought that they were, because so much of the power that you were seeing in them was actually your energy supplying that. And in that moment, you usually, it feels like, just in this example, it would feel like, oh my gosh, like you almost can't believe you spoke up for yourself. Like you almost can't believe that you shifted that dynamic. So there's a moment of like, oh my, like what was that? Like that happened. But in that moment, you stepped through a portal, right, into a different energy of somebody who stands in her power. And as a person who stands in their power, you're going to start to attract different things. So within that new frequency, as you step over that portal, is new relationships, right, of people that have no problem with someone standing in their power. It is new opportunities that come into your life as now you have said to the universe, I'm a person who stands in my power. It's new things that show up in your world, like new places you go. Maybe you find yourself like now taking a different job because you no longer want to have a boss that does the same thing to you that your father did to you, right? And you're no longer willing to receive that from somebody. So it sets in motion literally a whole new reality that you are co-creating from this new frequency. So these portals are like, it's like if I were going to give it a sound, it'd be like, whoop, right? Like you're like in this moment and you're feeling angsty, maybe even like struggling within yourself. And then an event happens or a conversation happens or something goes on in your life where you do something differently and it just goes whoop. And all of a sudden you're in new terrain from which you can create the next level of your life. It's so powerful. It's so exciting. And I'm so happy we're putting like a context to this and a visualization to this, because you can start to bring this forward too by how you visualize this, right? And visualizing yourself coming up to that next, portal and really stepping over the threshold and experiencing a new reality on the other side. So this week, really think about that, right? Like where in your life are you feeling some of these things? Where are there outdated like ways of being or relationships that don't feel good or situations that you want to shift or change? And write those down in your journal and then start seeing like, am I coming up to the door of a portal? Right? Am I like it kind of feels like you're nudging yourself, like your soul self is nudging your human self like up to the door of the portal, and it feels uncomfortable, right? And it's okay. It's all part of the process. So just noticing where we're at in that process. Are we newly through a portal? Are we coming up to that? And writing about it in your journal will be hugely helpful. And if you'd like to share in the reviews, go ahead and share there. And I'm happy to talk more about anything that's shared in the reviews on the show. Or you can DM me at The Soul Frequency on Instagram. I spend some time over there as well. And I will look forward to hearing about your experiences with frequency portals. Have an amazing week ahead. Sending you guys lots of love, and I'll see you back here next week for the Sessions episode. All right, that was Frequency Portals Sessions episode. You guys, this is a big deal. This is super powerful for your life. So make sure you write this stuff down and really think about, where have I shifted my frequency before? Where have I gone through these momentous moments in my life where I took back my power in any different way? And what shifted in my life after that? So we can do like a review as well to see, have we stepped through portals before, even if we didn't know that was what was going on at an energetic level? And what new things were created as we stepped through those portals? And really understanding, sometimes in hindsight, when we look back and we can kind of identify it now that we have a framework, it really helps us move forward as well into the new areas that we want to shift and improve. So see you guys back here next week. We're going even deeper with the next Sessions episode. Sending you guys so much love. See you back. Bye.